Ladies and gentlemen, as journalists, our job is to speak truth to power and to do so without fear or favor. I know many of you will snicker when I say this, but most ground journalists I know try and do their jobs as honestly as is possible. Politicians, on the other hand, are not expected to like what we as journalists say. That's not our job. But they are certainly expected to have a thick skin when it comes to criticism. The last thing that we expect in a democracy is for journalists to get thrown into jail for a mere interview of a disgruntled farmer who's cursing a chief minister. Well, it's exactly what has happened in Telangana. Two journalists, Revathi, managing director of Pulse News, and Tanvi Yadav, a reporter for the same channel, have been detained by the Hyderabad Police's cyber crime division. What was their crime? Well, their crime was posting and amplifying an interview. The cops claim that the interview in question falls under the ambit of social media trolling and that it was simply done to malign the chief minister. But what exactly was this so-called trolling about? Well, the interview they shared featured a poor farmer expressing his struggles and hardships under the Revanth Reddy regime. The journalists asked questions, the farmer answered them. Yes, in the process, he abused the chief minister. But instead of reflection, the government chose to send cops to the homes of these journalists at 5 o'clock in the morning and have them arrested for simply doing their jobs. Listen in.
I know my face looked like this because I just woke up from my sleep. ఒక అరగంట అయింది ఇంటికి టైం ఇప్పుడు అబౌట్ 5:15 అవుతుంది ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ క్రితం పోలీసులు వచ్చారు ఇంటికి సో దే మైట్ పిక్ మీ అండ్ టేక్ మీ I thought I should tell everybody. So please, one thing is clear. Revathi Reddy wants to silence me or threaten me or even, put pressure on my family. Let's see what happens.
The comments were very abusive and they are very insulting and very disrespectful to our CM. So accordingly, we have registered a case and these two persons have been arrested in the morning hours at their residences, and now they are being the office of the Pulse News YouTube channel also has been raided, and during the course of search the investigating officer has been able to seize 7 CPUs, 2 laptops and 2 hard disks, and besides some other material. Now 2 mobile phones of the 2 accused also have been seized. Now they have been sent to hospital. From there they have been taken to the court, and the magistrate has been requested to remand them for judicial custody.
Now, as expected, the arrest has sparked an outrage with the BRS and the BJP questioning the government's authoritarian approach. They are asking if this is the Congress's Mohabbat ki Dukaan. Cops, on the other hand, you've just heard them say that Revathi's video was actually funded by the rival party in the state, which is the BRS. In fact, the police also claims that this video was shot in the BRS office.
क्या गुनाह किया उन्होंने, क्या गलती किया? उनकी गलती ये थी कि यहाँ के जो फार्मर के आक्रोश है, जहाँ किसान की जो आक्रोश है, जो जहाँ किसान जो क्राइसिस में है, उनकी जो एक डिस्ट्रेस कॉल थी, उनको इन्होंने उनके डिजिटल मीडिया में दिखाया. मैं राहुल गांधी जी जो बार बार संविधान की किताब लेके घूमते रहते हैं, संविधान को दिखाते रहते हैं ऐसे करके कि संविधान के हिसाब से चलना चाहिए, राहुल जी से पूछना चाहता हूँ. लास्ट टाइम आई चेक्ड, आई थिंक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया अलाउज फॉर फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच. नाउ मिस्टर राहुल गांधी शुड टेल द एंटायर कंट्री कि जहां आज पूरे हिंदुस्तान में आपके 3 राज्य सरकारें हैं और एक राज्य सरकार में आज ये प्रॉब्लम आ गया, एक क्राइसिस आ गया जहां 2 जर्नलिस्ट को सुबह 4:30 बजे लेडी जर्नलिस्ट को उठाया जाता है.
नहीं, एक तरफ इनके लीडर साहब राहुल गांधी जी हमेशा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का किताब लेके घूमते हैं और दूसरी तरफ जो जर्नलिस्ट रेवती जी ने पुलिस वालों ने जबरदस्ती गुंडों के जैसा आज जो उनको उठाया गया और ऊपर से ये भी कम से कम बताने के लिए उन्होंने तैयार नहीं है किस लिए उनको लेके गए, क्या हुआ है. सरकार के खिलाफ अगर कोई पोस्ट लगाते हैं, सरकार के खिलाफ अगर कोई न्यूज लिखते हैं, उनको जबरदस्ती डराने के लिए यहाँ का तेलंगाना का कांग्रेस सरकार जो कोशिश कर रहा है, ये बिल्कुल गलत तरीका है और इसको बिल्कुल भारतीय जनता पार्टी इसको खंडित करते हैं और यह राहुल गांधी जी आज जवाब देना चाहिए।
Instead of that, BRS party is talking about the arrest of Revathi ji. First, they need to realize themselves that when they were in 10 years in power, I was a person on whom there were several cases filed, and I was like task force. People picked me for 3 days. If in a YouTube channel, which was established by BRS party or Kalvakunta Taraka Ramarao, and in that channel intentionally, if anything is published, which is not as per the evidence, they can't just baseless allegations, they can't keep on anyone. If they keep any baseless allegations which is affecting any person or any government, if any complaint is raised against it, 100% as per procedure, investigation will be done and cases will be filed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fireworks in Telangana are a bit hypocritical simply because Revathi, the same journalist who's been arrested by the present Chief Minister, was arrested even during the previous Chief Minister, that's under the BRS rule, for a story she had done on the entry of women in Sabrimala. So it's not just this government that has arrested her, the last government had arrested her as well. So it's very rich of the BRS to come and talk about freedom of press. Meanwhile, the Editors Guild of India has condemned the Telangana government's action, demanding that Revathi's rights and personal safety be protected. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't the first time journalists, scribes or even YouTubers have been targeted by governments. Recently, you know what happened in Karnataka? YouTuber Sameer MD was booked for his investigative video on the Saujanya rape and murder case. The government and the cops called it an offence. Imagine, an offence, because according to them, it outraged religious feelings. The video was simply raising valid questions about police investigations, how they botched it up, and the powerful individuals who were involved in this rape and murder case. The parents of Saujanya called this a witch hunt. Of course, now the Karnataka High Court has stayed the FIR against Sameer MD. But he's not alone. There have been others like Siddiq Kapan, like Mohammad Zubair, who have been caught in this political crosshair. Ladies and gentlemen, here's some data. India is ranked 159 out of 180 nations in the Freedom of Press Index. Can a journalist really be arrested for an interview that the Chief Minister doesn't like? Honestly, is that the country we live in? My guest this evening, Dinesh Chowdhury, spokesperson of the BRS, joining us for a quick chat. Thank you very much. Srinivas Reddy is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Thank you very much. Amar Devulapalli is editor of a very well-known Telangana daily. He's joining us on the broadcast. And Professor Nalapat is a political analyst. He joins us on the broadcast as well. Gentlemen, this is going to be a short, crisp debate. And obviously, the first question that is going to go to Mr. Srinivas Reddy of the Congress Party. Mr. Srinivas Reddy, the fact is that politicians are public people. They are in public life. They are expected to have a thick skin. Is it the first time that the Chief Minister of any state has gotten abused on camera? Definitely not. But to have two journalists thrown into jail for an abusive interview is excessive, many would say. What you're trying to do is silence the press. Not everyone can write nice things about the government, Mr. Reddy. There needs to be some criticism as well.
Good evening, Shreya. I agree with you that criticism is good. Criticism is wanted in a democracy, but not criticism to the extent of damaging the reputation of a person. And that too, I hope you all have seen the interview which was published, and it is in Telugu. I cannot even tell the words. I cannot tell the words on air. What are the words which are used against a person? A person's reputation, whoever it might be, it could be the chief minister, it could be an ex-person. But a reputation is a personal property of a person, and you cannot just hurl abuses or any person just like that because somebody is instigating you on that. Democracy is fine. You're definitely freedom of speech and expression is guaranteed under the Constitution. But the same Constitution also tells us that there are some responsibilities for us. You have to be responsible to an extent. It cannot go beyond a certain extent. There's a limit for any, any criticism. You cannot just use abusive language, and that abusive
Mr.
language
Reddy.
cannot be.
Mr. Reddy,
Yeah.
but journalists get abused left, right, and center every day. Every second day on my social media feed, I'm being called a prostitute.
Absolutely.
Does that mean I will go and get people arrested and I am here a mere journalist?
No, no. Here we are saying because we are saying a journalist is arrested. But when all the other people, when we say a politician is accountable, when we say a bureaucrat is accountable, when we say a businessman is accountable for what deeds he has done, can a journalist not be responsible and accountable? Why should they not be held accountable for their job? Their job is to give clarity. They cannot just make unbiased,
Hold them accountable, Mr.
biased
Reddy.
programs.
नहीं,
And that too,
Mr. Reddy, एक तो biased, unbiased. Mr. Reddy, the point is biased, unbiased is a question of perspective. What may be unbiased for me may be biased for you. Okay. Now I agree with you that the interview of the farmer, in the interview of the farmer, there were abusive words used for the chief minister. Was that something that I would have personally put on air? No. I would have edited that part out. I would have beeped that part out. But the fact is, but that is a choice that we as journalists make and we as editors make. It is a choice that Revathi didn't make. She said, this is raw, this is the anger the farmer is feeling. I'm going to put it out. It is a choice she made. I'm saying, was it criminal of her to do so? I'm saying, is she a criminal to be sent to jail?
There are repercussions for the choice because you just because freedom of expression or freedom of speech is granted, you cannot just go on air and say that anything which comes on to any person says anything. You just cannot put it on air. You'll have to verify the facts. Who is that person who is talking and what is that? Whether it is
verify the facts. There is a disgruntled farmer who is speaking. So are you saying that the people in the state of Telangana don't have the right to air their grievances?
Would a national media channel like Mirror Now or NDTV or etc. post something against Prime Minister Modi if some disgruntled farmer talks in the same way? Is my question. Would there not be any repercussions to that?
Mr. Reddy, here's the point. Then what are you saying? What exactly are you trying to say? The point, I made the point right in the beginning. That if I was the editor, I would have taken that particular part out and put out the interview.
Exactly.
My point is,
exactly I'm trying to
there was a choice made by the editor. But does that choice mean she'll land up in jail? That's my limited point. You may feel it's the wrong choice. File an FIR against her. But putting her behind bars at 5 o'clock in the morning.
The sort of language used in the video was shot sometime in February. It is an orchestrated video which everybody is able to understand now. The process of investigation is going on. The video was shot in February. It has been sent out just before the assembly session start yesterday. We have to understand where it is coming from. They are trying to, create a sort of scenario wherein they want to bring disrepute to the Congress government and do all such acts, which is not acceptable. Not only to me, to any common person of India, they would never accept such sort of thing. Would the same thing any other government?
Dinesh Chowdhury?
Will they also not act against this sort of behavior? Any government would have acted. And if we act, we say we are...
Dinesh Chowdhury, the charge is... Mr. Reddy ho gaya. Dinesh Chowdhury, the charge is essentially against you. The charge is that, the video was funded by the BRS and that it is completely orchestrated. In fact, the interview was also shot in the BRS office. That is the charge against you. The charge against you also is that this outrage is hypocritical because you had put Revathi behind bars for a story she did when you were in power.
Shreya, what we are seeing today is the true nature of Congress when it's in power. It simply reverts back to its emergency days where their modus operandi was simple. Arrest journalists, stifle media voice. And today that's what is happening over here. There are clear directions from the Supreme Court saying that women can't be arrested before sunrise and after sunrise. But the police barged into Revathi ji's house at 4:45 a.m. and they pick her up and Tanvi Yadav, who is also a female journalist. Let me ask you, if Congress really has an apprehension or they have any objection towards that, they have filed a complaint. But would the police act so swiftly in all the matters? Because the sections levied upon them, they would simply merit a notice under 35 BNS and explanation should have been given. But they have been arrested before sunrise in the dark. I'm asking them, are they murderers or are they dacoits to arrest them in such arbitrary manner and such a disgusting manner? Even Revathi ji's husband's phone, laptop was also seized. And the police, after arresting them, they get the security footage in the building also deleted. So I'm asking you, isn't this autocracy? And also, let me tell you, I have to correct you on one thing, Shreya. No, I have to correct you on one thing. BRS government didn't arrest Revathi ji for criticizing the government or airing any program. That was an altercation between Revathi ji and a BJP leader in a channel discussion, which she previously got. And the charge levied on her was SC/ST Atrocity Act. That was the reason she was arrested, not by the government. So the Congress is trying to cook up all wild goose chase theories in this. And let me ask you, Rahul Gandhi goes around the country preaching that he is the true custodian of constitution and media freedom. Then why isn't he raising his voice in such kind of atrocities? Because this is not an isolated incident, Shreya. Not only Revathi ji, even govt, journalist was arrested. Ranjit, a journalist, was arrested previously. Sarita Yadav, a female journalist, was assaulted in the police station in Congress government. So this Congress government is entirely drunk upon power and acting in a high-handed manner. So Rahul Gandhi should answer this.
Mr. Reddy, respond to that. Mr. Reddy, please respond to that.
Not able to hear.
Mr. Reddy, Reddy, you can't hear me, is it?
Yeah, I can't hear you. I lost your voice.
I just wanted you to respond to that. The opposition is saying, what's the point of Rahul Gandhi going across the country with a book of constitution and espousing for the freedom of press when there is no freedom of press in a state that the Congress
freedom
rules?
of press, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, everything is guaranteed under the constitution and is guaranteed in Telangana. Here it is nothing against the media completely. It is being taken in a completely wrong way. It is against a small correction over here.
This is not a simple case of. This is not only the case of.
It is not the only case. Even during the BRS regime, there were a number of cases. Mr. Chowdhury, even during the BRS regime, we know that there were a number of cases.
Then you were saying we were autocratic. Our cases never were resulted due to the criticism against government.
I know what has happened.
Our cases were never due to the criticism against government.
We have given her the legal recourse
behaving in a total
of time.
autocratic manner and bringing back the emergency era.
And there's nothing sort of an emergency era in Telangana.
Bringing back the emergency era. That
It is
is
a
what
clear
Congress
case
party
of
is.
vendetta here against the
That is
Congress
the
government by the BRS. You are trying to. It is completely different. You are trying to malign the reputation of the chief minister and the government.
I'm getting another. Gentlemen, please, let's not reduce this to a tutu meme akhada type fight. Amarji, I'm getting you into the broadcast. Look, I do feel that if, if in a video or in a soundbite, a chief minister or the prime minister or anyone is being abused, gali di ja rahi hai, there's personal abuse. As an editor, I would edit out that part. It's as simple as that. The point that the Congress party spokesperson here is making is a pretty decent one. He says, what if the same abuse was made by a farmer against the prime minister of this country? Would an editor have let that go? So clearly, Revathi possibly erred. But Yeah, go ahead.
Shreya,
Go ahead, Amarji.
Shreya, I have 3-4 points, quick points to make because we don't have much time. First of all, please don't compare this today's incident in Hyderabad with incidents elsewhere in the country. That is one point. Second point, leave alone a journalist. Any woman should not be picked in that BRs for any case. That let us condemn that. Third thing, the person who is making an issue today out of this, Mr. K.T. Ramarao, he was a very important minister in the government of BRS for more than 9 years. In the beginning of their governance, his father as chief minister in public said, I'll bury this media 10 kilometers down in the ground if it writes against our party or our governance. And they are coming now and questioning Mr. Rahul Gandhi, kahan hai mohabbat ki dukaan. What I am saying, there is definitely every political party, everyone in the government should respect the media and should respect the freedom of expression. But I'll tell you one thing, the video which was published by Ms. Revathi's channel was not a live thing. They have edited it later. They should have edited, you know what they called? They called Revanth Reddy a bastard. The same thing happened in Andhra Pradesh few months back when the other party was in rule. Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy was the chief minister. He was called a bastard by a politician. There was no action and there were no cases. What I'm saying, we respect freedom of expression. I'm a journalist of 50 years of experience and I edit a newspaper. Day in and day out, I criticize this government which is in power in Telangana now. I write a column every Sunday. I write editorials. I write a column called Dateline. I criticize this government also. No one came to me to arrest. This is not the way. See, the chief minister was called a bastard. You know that? Criticizing a chief minister, criticizing a government, its policies, its programs is different. Can you, as a journalist, do that? What I'm saying, arresting a woman, leave alone a journalist, in that behavior is wrong. And she is not going to run away. You can any day prosecute her, you can run a case on her, you can do that. And third thing I'm saying, see, somebody was saying, police officers are saying that it is funded, that channel is funded by the BRS or by K.T. Ramarao. I'm not going into those things. What I'm saying, that farmer, poor person, he may be an aggrieved person, he must have expressed his anger. But what are you doing as a journalist, as a responsible journalist? Don't you have the responsibility of doing a gatekeeping function? Don't you have the responsibility of editing?
I agree with you.
How can you do that?
I agree with you.
I'm sorry, I'm not
I
able
agree
to
with
hear
you.
your
And I
voice.
also will tell you that many times, no, sir, I'm saying I agree with you. And I can also tell you that many times conscious decisions are made to put out provocative things so that they go viral. I agree with you there also. But Professor
Of course,
Madhav
Shreya,
Nalapat, my
and me
simple
and you
point
will
is,
do that.
this is
How
not a
how
murder.
did
This was
Revathi
not
did
a
not do
murder
that?
where you
How
needed
did
to
Revathi
arrest
did not do
journalists
that?
at 4:30 in the morning, Professor Nalapat.
I'm
Correct.
saying
But
the
Professor
first point,
Nalapat, my
the first
simple point
I
is,
made,
I didn't know there are two
Madam,
Nalap
ठीक है
programs.
सर, I
Shreya,
understand.
first point I
I had
made
no
was
idea.
Sir, एक मिनट रुक
she
जाइए.
should not
Sir,
have arrested at that
He doesn't
VR.
even look like me. Yeah,
correct,
look, I want to say one
correct.
thing,
Let Professor
Shreya.
Nalapat come in, please. Professor Nalapat, go
I've
ahead.
been told multiple times and called all kinds of names. And if I may say so, if you check social media, you will find there's a tremendous amount of trolling taking place about Prime Minister Modi. All kinds of people say all kinds of things about him. And they've been saying that, frankly, ever since he became Chief Minister of Gujarat. Now, are all those people in jail? I don't think so.
The fact of the matter is that, freedom is freedom. And when you talk about the editor's responsibility, well, I can tell you one thing, and that is some words, unfortunately, are become common terms of abuse. Unfortunately, I agree it is not a healthy development, and certainly words like that, should not be used. But the point is, unfortunately, such abuse is used in everyday conversation by tens of millions of people. Is the other side going to file an FIR, or is anybody going to notice that FIR? I mean, I've been told multiple times, may I request the Andhra Pradesh police to file an FIR based on my complaint and arrest the person? I would not like to do that. My mother was told, I was told, my family was told. We have all been told, and we said, no, we are not going to bother because it is freedom of speech, even though the worst possible untruths are said. The point about truth is, truth is always more believable than an untruth. So, this is a common abuse, which I agree, polite conversation people should not use. But there are a lot of people who don't go by polite conversation. So I think this is a very, very, stretchable doctrine. And Shreya, it proves the point I've been making for so many decades, which is that the easiest thing in the world to arrest somebody on some charge is it's in India. There are all kinds of laws that can be misused to arrest a citizen. And now the Prime Minister is decriminalizing several. Many more need to be decriminalized. There needs to be an environment free of the colonial era law, which was meant to create fear. Now, a government should persuade with truth against untruth, reason against unreason. And that is how you win an argument. You don't win an argument by putting the person who's argued in jail. For heaven's sake.
Sure, I agree with you. Mr. Reddy, the point is, since you're representing the Congress party here, politics is about perception. And the perception and the story and the narrative that has gone across is, in Telangana, you criticize the government, be ready to go to jail.
Please,
Simple.
Shreya,
it's as simple as that. That is what has happened.
Don't try to please Telangana. See, at national level, don't try to please discredit Telangana.
I don't agree with you on that because Telangana is a different story.
I don't know like that in the national level. See, आप दिल्ली में बैठ के सब ऐसा बात करना ठीक नहीं है. तेलंगाना में वैसा नहीं है. No journalist is harassed. This is a stray case, right?
Every day,
अब आप देखिए,
journalists are being harassed. They are
sorry.
behind.
What do we say about two women journalists being arrested at 4:45 in the morning if they are not being harassed?
What about Gautam Gaut? What about Gautam Gaut? What about Ranjit?
See, if you say freedom of expression, anybody can say anyone that you are a bastard.
What about journalists being attacked and shielded by the government?
Let me tell you one thing.
My point is, sir, if you go to a police station in Hyderabad, if you go to a police station in Hyderabad, sir, suniye. Sir, since I have another debate coming up, but let me just... Amarji, if you go to a police station in Hyderabad, I don't think you will, but if you go to a police station in Hyderabad and say, XYZ person has called me a bastard, will the police at 4:45 in the morning go and arrest two journalists, women or not?
My first point was,
they will not even write an FIR.
My first point was that is wrong. Arresting her at that wee hour was wrong.
Sir, the action is excessive.
I said that, but
it is excessive.
Please
it is intimidation.
Please don't generalize. Don't generalize and discredit Telangana. Please, it's a developing state. Please don't put hurdles in the development of
Sir, we have very smart viewers.
Please.
Sir, we have very smart and intelligent viewers.
I know what national media is, how it behaves with South. I know that.
Sir, see, now this is what it becomes. No, sir, here's the point I'm going to make. Amarji, here's the point I'm going to make.
My
viewers are very smart. They are very Don't make this
Tell me.
about Delhi people and Hyderabad people. This is simply about the way journalists are being treated. My point to you is, sir,
Don't try
my
to.
viewer is an intelligent viewer. We have heard you. We've heard from the BRS. We've heard from the Congress. We've heard from Professor Nalapat. Right? As a journalist, that's my job, to get everyone's point of view in a 30-minute show. I think I've done that over the last 30 minutes. My job is done. I will let my viewers decide what's going on in Telangana. No Delhi wale and Hyderabad wale and Bangalore wale here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dinesh ji, thank you very much. Mr. Reddy, thank you. Amar ji, thank you very much. And Professor Nalapat, thank you very much for this debate. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. Some very worrying news is coming up from Balochistan as we speak. That's up next.